Persist. There is a comfortable lie that the average man tells himself to sleep at night. He looks at the titan of industry, the master of the market, persist, the creator of empires, and he whispers one word, luck. He tells himself that the chasm between his mediocrity and their fortune is a matter of chance, persist, a roll of the cosmic dice, or an injustice woven into the fabric of society. It soothes him. It absolves him of responsibility, persist. It allows him to remain a victim of circumstance rather than a master of destiny. But I am here to tell you the uncomfortable truth, persist. The truth that stings before it heals. The truth that Napoleon Hill discovered after 20 years of studying the most powerful men on earth, persist. The truth is that winners deserve it all, and they deserve it not because they were chosen by fate, persist, but because they obeyed a law that the drifter refuses to acknowledge. The universe is not chaotic, it is ordered. It is not whimsical, persist. It is mathematical. Just as a bridge stands only if it respects the laws of physics, a fortune stands only if it respects the laws of success, persist. You cannot cheat gravity, and you cannot cheat the law of compensation. The man who sits at the feast of life, surrounded by abundance, persist, is there because he paid the price of admission, a price the majority are too afraid, too lazy, or too distracted to pay, persist. You must understand that nature is neutral. The wind does not care if you are a saint or a sinner. It blows upon everyone, persist. The difference is that the winner sets his sails to harness the wind, while the loser complains about the storm, persist. The soil does not pity the farmer who forgot to plant in the spring. You can cry over the soil, you can beg the soil, persist. You can tell the soil about your good intentions, but if you did not plant the seed and toil under the hot sun to protect it from weeds, persist, you will starve in the winter. This is the ironclad justice of the cosmos. Winners deserve the harvest because they endured the planting, persist. They deserve the view from the summit because they endured the pain of the climb. While the masses were sleeping, they were planning, persist. While the crowd was entertained, they were educating themselves. While the drifter was seeking comfort, the winner was seeking challenge, persist. This brings us to the first great realization you must etch into your soul. You are where you are because of who you are, persist. This is the hardest pill to swallow. It is easier to blame the economy, the government, your parents, or your boss, persist. But the moment you place the blame outside of yourself, you place the power outside of yourself. The winner accepts total radical responsibility, persist. He knows that his bank account is a reflection of the value he has rendered to the world, persist. His relationships are a reflection of the love and respect he embodies. His health is a reflection of the discipline he maintains, persist. Andrew Carnegie did not accidentally stumble into the steel industry and find $1 billion in his pocket, persist. He was a man possessed by a definite major purpose. He moved with an intensity that bent reality to his will, persist. He understood that wealth is not merely physical currency, it is solidified energy. It is the physical manifestation of service rendered, persist. If you want more heat, you must put more wood on the fire. You cannot stand before the stove of life and say, "Give me heat," persist, and then I will give you wood. That is the logic of the fool. You must give first. You must serve first. You must become valuable first, persist. Most people want the reward without the risk, the triumph without the trial, persist. They want to be the diamond without undergoing the extreme pressure that creates it. But the law of the universe is balance. For every effect, persist. There is a specific cause. If you do not have the effect, the wealth, the freedom, the influence, it is because you have not supplied the cause, persist. You have not generated the energy required to magnetize those things to you. Consider the mindset of the drifter. The drifter wakes up with no plan, persist, reacts to whatever the day throws at him, and consumes what others have created. He is a leaf blowing in the wind of other people's opinions, persist. Now contrast this with the mindset of the winner. The winner wakes up with a command in his heart. He does not ask the day what it will bring, persist. He tells the day what he will extract from it. He has a vision so clear, so burning, that it acts as a mental magnet, drawing resources, opportunities, persist, and people into his orbit. This is the power of the burning desire that Hill spoke of. It is not a wish. It is not a hope, persist. It is a pulsating obsession that drowns out the voice of fear. Winners deserve it all because they have burned the bridges behind them, persist. They have left themselves no path of retreat. When a general leads his army across the ocean and burns his ships upon arrival, persist. He sends a signal to the subconscious minds of his soldiers: we win or we die. There is no going back to the old life, persist. There is no safety net of mediocrity. When you operate with that level of conviction, the world moves aside for you. The universe hates ambiguity. Persist. It rewards specificity. The man who says, "I want to be rich," gets nothing because his request is vague and weak. The man who says, persist, "I will earn $10 million by rendering the most efficient service in this specific industry," persist, "and I will start today," forces the universe to respond. He has given a clear command to the infinite intelligence that permeates all things. Persist. But desire alone is only the spark. The fuel is faith, and I am not speaking of passive, wishing well faith. I am speaking of the aggressive, persist, unshakable belief that what you seek is already yours. Winners deserve it all because they see the invisible, persist. They live in the reality of their dream long before it manifests in the material world. Look at Henry Ford. When he dreamed of the V8 motor, persist, his engineers told him it was impossible. They said the block could not be cast in a single piece, persist. A normal man, a man who did not believe he deserved the impossible, would have accepted the expert opinion. He would have stopped, persist. But Ford was not a normal man. He was a winner. He told them, produce it anyway. 6 months passed, nothing. Another 6 months, nothing. Persist. The engineers came to him again and said, "Mr. Ford, it cannot be done." And Ford simply replied, "Go on, I want it, persist, and I'll have it." He deserved the fortune he built not because he knew how to cast the engine himself, persist, but because he held the vision when everyone else saw only obstacles, persist. He held the frequency of success until the physical world had no choice but to align with his mental picture. This is the labor of the mind, persist. It is the hardest work there is, which is why so few engage in it. It is easier to dig a ditch than to hold a vision against 1,000 voices of doubt. Persist. The ditch digger is paid in pennies. The visionary is paid in fortunes. This is not unfair. It is the correct valuation of the difficulty of the task. Persist. You must understand that money is simply an applause meter for the value you provide. If you are broke, persist. It is the market telling you that you have not yet found a way to serve the many. You are thinking of yourself, of your needs, of your lack. Persist. Wealth flows to those who lose themselves in the service of others. The more problems you solve, the more wealth you claim. The bigger the problem, persist. The bigger the check. Winners hunt for problems. They look for friction. They look for what is broken, difficult, or inefficient, persist, and they fall in love with fixing it. The drifter runs from problems. He seeks ease. And in seeking ease, he finds hardship. Persist. The winner seeks the difficult path, and in conquering it, he finds the ease of abundance. This is the paradox of life. Do what is easy, persist, and your life will be hard. Do what is hard, and your life will be easy. You must eradicate the poison of envy from your heart. Persist. When you see another man rising, when you see his luxury, his freedom, his power, do not let jealousy whisper its rot into your ear. Persist. Jealousy is an affirmation of your own perceived inferiority. It is your ego admitting that you do not believe you are capable of the same. Instead, persist. Let his success be a proof of possibility. Let it be the evidence that the laws work. If he can do it, persist, so can you, provided you are willing to pay the price he paid. But are you? Persist. That is the question that keeps the gate of the castle locked against the masses. Everyone wants the gold, few want to hold the sword. Persist. Everyone wants the resurrection. No one wants the crucifixion. You must be willing to let the old version of yourself die. The weak, procrastinating, persist. Doubting, fearful version of you must be sacrificed on the altar of your ambition. You cannot take your bad habits into your new life. Persist. You cannot take your excuses to the bank. Winners deserve it all because they are masters of self-discipline. They have conquered the enemy within. Persist. Napoleon Hill taught us that the greatest battle is never against the external world. It is against the drifting nature of one's own mind. Persist. The average man is a slave to his impulses. If he is hungry, he eats. If he is tired, he sleeps. If he is bored, he scrolls. He is an automaton. Persist. Reacting to biological and social programming. The winner breaks the program. He does what needs to be done, whether he feels like it or not. Persist. He understands that feelings are poor servants and terrible masters. I don't feel like it is the mantra of the loser. Persist. It is done is the declaration of the king. When you can look at a task that terrifies you, a task that bores you, a task that hurts you, persist. And do it simply because your purpose demands it. You have stepped into the realm of the deserving. Think of Thomas Edison. 10,000 failures. Persist. 10,000 times the world told him, you are wrong. 10,000 times the physical evidence screamed, persist. Give up. Can you imagine the mental fortitude required to face failure number 9,999? Persist. And strike the match one more time. That is why his name is etched in history. That is why he illuminated the world. Persist. He did not just give us a light bulb. He gave us a lesson in the architecture of the human spirit. Persist. He deserved the light because he survived the darkness. This resilience is not genetic. It is forged. It is forged in the fires of temporary defeat. Persist. Notice I said temporary defeat. To the winner, there is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. Persist. There is only a lesson wrapped in a painful package. When the winner falls, he does not stay down looking for pity. Persist. He rebounds with greater intelligence. He analyzes the fall, extracts the wisdom, discards the emotion, and attacks again with renewed strategy. Persist. The drifter treats a setback as a stop sign. The winner treats it as a detour sign. The destination remains the same, only the route changes. Persist. This adaptability is the hallmark of the wealthy mind. Markets change, technologies change, circumstances shift like sand. If you are rigid, persist. You will break. If you are fluid, like water, you will find your way through any crack, over any wall, and eventually you will reach the ocean. Persist. But let us go deeper into the mechanics of this deserving. It is not just about hard work. Persist. A man can work hard digging a hole and filling it back up for 40 years and have nothing to show for it. Persist. It is about specialized knowledge and organized effort. Winners deserve the crown because they have taken the time to master their craft. Persist. They do not dabble. They dominate. They do not seek to be good enough. They seek to be untouchable. In every field, there is the top 1%. Persist. And then there is everyone else. The rewards at the top are not slightly higher. They are exponentially higher. Persist. The horse that wins the race by a nose gets 10 times the prize money of the horse that comes in second. Is the winner 10 times faster? No. Persist. He is a fraction faster. He is a millimeter more disciplined. He is a second more focused. Persist. This is the slight edge. Winners obsess over the details that others ignore. They refine their skills while others are relaxing. Persist. They study their industry while others are socializing. They are professional in a world of amateurs. And because they have made themselves rare, persist. They have made themselves valuable. Scarcity drives value. If you have a skill that anyone can do, you will be paid what anyone can be paid. Persist. But if you possess a combination of vision, leadership, resilience, and specialized skill that is rare, persist, the world has no choice but to compensate you heavily. You set the price, you dictate the terms. Persist. You have escaped the rat race because you have stopped being a rat and started being a lion. Now, pause and look at your own life. Persist. Look at the results you are currently generating. Do not look with judgment, look with cold, analytical truth. If you are not where you want to be, persist. Which law are you violating? Are you drifting? Are you waiting for permission? Are you harboring fear? Are you working hard on the wrong things? Persist. Are you giving 50% effort and expecting a 100% return? The universe is waiting for you to declare yourself. Persist. It is waiting for you to stop begging and start commanding. But you cannot command the external world until you command the internal world. Persist. You must win the war in your mind before you can win the war in the marketplace. Everything you see around you, the skyscrapers, the airplanes, persist. The internet, the corporations, began as a thought in a human mind. A thought that was held, fed, and acted upon. Persist. The creators of these things were not superhumans. They were flesh and blood, just like you. Persist. But they accessed the infinite intelligence through the power of their belief. They understood that thoughts are things. Powerful, tangible things. Persist. If you fill your mind with poverty thoughts, with victim thoughts, with fear thoughts, you are planting weeds in your mental garden. Persist. And the law of the universe will ensure that you harvest a jungle of misery. But if you stand guard at the door of your mind, persist. If you reject every negative suggestion, if you feed your subconscious with images of abundance, strength, and victory, persist, you will begin to move differently. You will walk with a different cadence. You will speak with a different tone. Persist. People will sense the shift in your frequency. Opportunities will seemingly appear out of thin air, but they are not magic. Persist. They are the result of your alignment. This is why the winner takes it all, because the winner is it all. Persist. He has integrated the principles of success into his very cellular structure. He does not need to try to be successful. He simply is. Persist. And his actions flow from that state of being. To join their ranks, you must kill the part of you that is comfortable with average. Persist. You must develop a divine dissatisfaction, a hunger that cannot be satiated by crumbs. You must look at the mountain and not see a barrier. Persist. But a platform. You must realize that the resistance you feel, the fear, the doubt, the fatigue, is not a sign to stop. Persist. It is a sign that you are climbing. The air is thinner at the top. The pressure is greater. The cold is sharper. Persist. That is why the crowd stays at the bottom. But the view is reserved for the few who refuse to quit. Persist. The journey to wealth and mastery is a journey of self-mastery. You are not just building a fortune. Persist. You are building a character capable of holding that fortune. If you gave $1 million to a person with a poverty mindset, persist, they would lose it in a year. We see this with lottery winners every day. They did not become the person who deserves the wealth. Persist. So the wealth fled from them. It returned to its rightful owners, those who understand how to multiply it, how to respect it, and how to use it. Persist. Wealth is a responsibility. It is a tool for expansion. The winner understands that money is simply a magnifying glass. If you are a good person, persist. Money will make you able to do more good. If you are a bad person, money will make you a terror. Do not fear wealth. Do not demonize it. Persist. Pursue it with the intention of expanding your capacity to serve, to create, and to uplift. But make no mistake, the world will test you. Persist. It will send you false friends. It will send you almost opportunities. It will send you heartache. It will send you exhaustion. Persist. These are the gatekeepers. They are asking, how bad do you want it? The drifter turns back at the first gatekeeper. The winner nods, draws his sword, persists, and keeps walking. He knows that on the other side of that test lies his destiny. So when you see the winner standing in the spotlight, persist, holding the trophy, signing the deal, living the life of your dreams. Do not say, he is lucky. Say, he is faithful, faithful to the vision. Persist, faithful to the work, faithful to the discipline, faithful to the law. And then ask yourself, am I? Because the truth, the uncomfortable, persist. Liberating truth is that the throne is empty. The crown is sitting there, waiting for the one bold enough to pick it up. Persist. The universe is not withholding your success. It is waiting for you to become the person who can carry it. The bank vault is unlocked. Persist. But the handle is heavy. You must be strong enough to turn it. This strength comes from action. Massive, imperfect, relentless action. Persist. You cannot think your way to the top. You must act your way there. Persist. You must bridge the gap between the metaphysical and the physical with the sweat of your brow and the courage of your heart. Persist. Hesitation is the assassin of dreams. The moment you hesitate, the moment you doubt, the connection is severed. The winner acts instantly. Persist. When intuition speaks, he moves. He trusts the guidance of the infinite intelligence more than the fears of his logical mind. Persist. He jumps off the cliff and builds his wings on the way down. This requires a level of courage that borders on insanity to the average mind. Persist. But history is written by the crazy, ones who believed they could change the world, and so they did. There is a rhythm to success, a momentum. Persist. Once you begin to move, once you begin to win, winning becomes a habit. Confidence breeds confidence. Success attracts success. Persist. But you must force that first rotation of the flywheel. You must push with everything you have until the momentum catches. This is the hardest part. Persist. This is where most people die, in the stillness before the motion. You must be willing to look foolish. You must be willing to be misunderstood. Persist. You must be willing to stand alone. The path of the winner is often a solitary path in the beginning. You will have to say no to the parties. Persist. No to the distractions. No to the people who do not support your vision. You will be called obsessed. You will be called a workaholic. Persist. You will be called a dreamer. Good. These are the labels the herd places on the shepherd. Wear them as badges of honor. Persist. Remember the story of the burning of the ships. It is not just a military tactic, it is a spiritual necessity. What are the ships in your life? Persist. What are the safety nets that are keeping you from flying? Is it a job you hate but keeps you comfortable? Persist. Is it a relationship that drains you but keeps you from being lonely? Is it a habit that numbs you but keeps you from facing your pain? Burn them. Persist. Burn them all. Stand on the shore of your potential with nothing behind you but ash and everything in front of you but glory. Persist. When you have no choice but to succeed, you will find a way. The human mind is an infinite problem-solving machine. Persist. But it only operates at full capacity when the stakes are life or death. Make your success a matter of life or death. Because, in a spiritual sense, persist it is. To live below your potential is a slow death. To deny your gifts is a slow suicide. You were not born to pay bills and die. Persist. You were born to demonstrate the power of the Creator flowing through you. You were born to leave a mark. You were born to rise. Persist. But birthright is not possession. You have the right to the kingdom, but you must fight for the keys. This is the call to arms. Persist. The call to wake up from the hypnosis of mediocrity. The world is shaking. The old systems are crumbling. Persist. The opportunities for the bold have never been greater. But the window is for the swift. It is for the decisive. Persist. Do not wait for the perfect time. The perfect time is a myth. The conditions will never be just right. Start where you are, with what you have. Persist. And more will be given to you as you go. This is the principle of the first step. You do not need to see the whole staircase. Persist. You just need to take the first step with faith. As you walk, the fog will lift. As you climb, the muscles will grow. As you speak, persist. The voice will strengthen, but you must move. Stagnation is a pool of breeding disease. Movement is a river of life. Be the river. Persist. Crash against the rocks of resistance and carve your canyon. Winners deserve it all because they understand the law of accumulation. Small actions. Persist. Repeated daily over long periods of time, create massive results. It is not the one heroic act that makes the legend. Persist. It is the 1,000 unseen hours of practice. It is the consistency that bores the amateur but thrills the professional. Can you do the boring work? Persist. Can you show up when the applause has died down? Can you keep the promise you made to yourself long after the mood in which you made it has left you? Persist. That is the definition of character, and character is the container of wealth. Without character, money will destroy you. With character, persist. Money will amplify you. Build the container first. Be honest with yourself. Be ruthless with your time. Be generous with your value. Persist. The uncomfortable truth is that you are already getting exactly what you deserve based on your current output, your current belief, persist, and your current discipline. If you want more, you must become more. You must upgrade your identity, persist. You must stop identifying as a struggler and start identifying as a conqueror. You must walk into a room and know deep in your marrow, persist, that you belong at the head of the table, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. You have done the work. You have faced the demons. Persist. You have paid the price. So let the others sleep. Let the others complain. Let the others wait for a savior. You be the savior of your own life. Persist. You are the captain of your own soul. The horizon is open. The laws are neutral. The power is in your hands. Demand life for what you want. Persist. Pay the price without haggling, and the world will have no choice but to open its vaults and pour its treasures at your feet. This is the law. Persist. This is the truth. This is why winners deserve it all. Now go and claim what is yours. Persist. But do not make the fatal mistake of thinking you can conquer this mountain alone. The myth of the self-made man is just that, a myth. Persist. A fable told to stroke the ego of the arrogant. No man rises to the height of a king without the shoulders of others beneath his feet. Persist. You may be the captain of your soul, but a captain without a crew is just a man drifting on a lonely raft. To truly deserve the empire you seek, persist. You must master the ancient and immutable law of the mastermind. Napoleon Hill observed this secret in the courts of the mighty. Persist. He saw it in the steel mills of Carnegie and the laboratories of Edison. He realized that power is not merely a product of one brain. Persist. It is the result of the coordination of knowledge and effort between two or more people in a spirit of perfect harmony. Persist for the attainment of a definite purpose. Think of a battery. A single battery has a limited amount of energy. It can power a small light, perhaps. Persist. But it cannot start an engine. But link a dozen batteries together, and you have the power to turn the wheels of industry. Persist. The human brain is a form of battery. When you connect your mind with the minds of other focused, driven, and positive individuals, persist. You do not just add to your power, you multiply it, you create a third. Persist. Invisible mind, a collective intelligence that can solve problems your solitary mind could never crack. Persist. Winners understand that they do not need to know everything. They only need to know how to access the knowledge they require. Persist. Look at the story of Henry Ford during the libel suit brought against him by a newspaper that called him ignorant. The lawyers placed Ford on the witness stand and grilled him with trivia. Persist. Who was Benedict Arnold? How many soldiers did the British send to America in 1776? They tried to humiliate him. Persist. To prove he was uneducated and therefore unworthy of his fortune. Ford listened to the questions, his patience wearing thin, until finally, persist. He pointed a finger at the lawyer and said, "Let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk, and by pushing the right button, persist, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts. Now, persist. Will you kindly tell me, why should I clutter up my mind with general knowledge for the purpose of being able to answer questions? Persist, when I have men around me who can supply any knowledge I require." The court was silent. The lawyer was stunned. Persist, because Ford had spoken the philosophy of the winner. He understood that organized knowledge is power. Persist, and it does not matter if that knowledge is stored in your own brain or in the brain of a trusted ally, as long as you control it. Persist. The drifter isolates himself. He He is afraid that if he shares his ideas, they will be stolen. Persist. He is afraid to ask for help because he thinks it makes him look weak. He tries to carry the weight of the world on his back, and eventually, persist, his spine snaps. The winner builds a council. He surrounds himself with people who are smarter than him in their specific fields. Persist. He is not threatened by their brilliance. He is empowered by it. He recruits their energy, their vision, persist, and their skills into his definite major purpose. Ask yourself who is in your circle. Are you surrounded by people who feed your fire? Persist. Or people who douse it with the cold water of skepticism? If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. Persist. You need to be in a room where the conversation terrifies you slightly, where the standards are so high they make you uncomfortable. Persist. That pressure is what forces you to grow. Winners deserve it all because they curate their environment with ruthlessness. Persist. They know that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you hang around 5 broke complainers, you will be the 6th. Persist. If you hang around 5 millionaires who are obsessed with growth, you will be the 6th. It is inevitable. It is osmosis. Persist. But simply gathering people is not enough. You must have specialized knowledge. The schools have lied to you. They taught you that knowledge is power. Persist. It is not. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. Persist. A library is full of knowledge, but a library has never built a railroad or founded a nation. Men did that. Persist. Men who took the knowledge and applied it with heat and pressure. The winner does not seek to be a generalist, a jack of all trades and master of none. Persist. He seeks to be the master of one. He finds his niche, his obsession, his specific lane, and he digs deep until he strikes oil. Persist. He realizes that the world rewards the specialist. The heart surgeon is paid more than the general practitioner. Persist. The specialized tax attorney is paid more than the clerk. Why? Because their knowledge is rare, and it solves a specific high-value pain. Persist. You must become so good at what you do that you cannot be ignored. Persist. You must sharpen your skills until they cut through the noise of the marketplace like a razor. And this education does not end when you leave school. Persist. That is when it truly begins. The winner is a student for life. He reads, he attends seminars, he hires mentors, he studies his failures. Persist. He invests in his mind as if it were the most valuable asset on earth, because it is. The drifter spends his money on clothes to cover his body. Persist. The winner spends his money on knowledge to expand his mind. And how do you get this mind to serve you? Persist. How do you force your subconscious to work for you while you sleep? You must master the principle of autosuggestion. Persist. This is the control room of the human biocomputer. Your subconscious mind is a fertile garden spot. It does not care what you plant. Persist. It will grow hemlock just as easily as it grows corn. If you do not consciously plant the seeds of success, persist. The weeds of fear and mediocrity will blow in on the wind and take over. Most people are victims of their own negative self-talk. Persist. They walk around repeating a mantra of defeat. I'm tired. I'm broke. I can't do this. It's too hard. And their subconscious persist. Being a faithful servant says, your wish is my command, and manifests those conditions. The winner hacks the system. Persist. He writes down his definite major purpose. He writes down exactly what he intends to give in return for the life he wants. And he reads it aloud. Persist. Morning and night with emotion. He does not just say the words, he feels them. He visualizes himself already in possession of the money, the influence. Persist. The impact. He closes his eyes and feels the texture of the victory. He smells the air of freedom. He hears the applause. This is not madness. Persist. This is mechanics. By mixing thought with emotion and faith, you are impressing a command upon the subconscious mind. And once that command is accepted, persist. The subconscious will go to work, connecting you with the people, the circumstances, and the hunches you need to make it real. Persist. It is like programming a destination into a GPS. You may not know every turn yet, but the guidance system knows. But be warned, persist. The signal must be clear. You cannot plant a seed of success in the morning and dig it up with doubt in the evening. You must be fanatic, persist. You must guard the door of your mind against the influences of the world, persist. And the most dangerous influence of all, the invisible chain that binds the vast majority of humanity to the rock of mediocrity, is the fear of criticism, persist. This is the killer of dreams. This is the assassin that strangles the infant idea in the cradle. How many brilliant inventions, how many great books, persist. How many fortunes have died because the creator was afraid of what they would say? Who is they? The neighbors, the relatives, persist. The anonymous commenters, persist. The people who have given up on their own dreams and now seek to destroy yours because your courage reminds them of their cowardice, persist. Winners deserve it all because they have developed immunity to the opinions of others, persist. They realize that criticism is the defense mechanism of the failure. If you are doing nothing, no one will criticize you. If you are drifting, persist. No one will attack you. But the moment you lift your head above the crowd, the moment you declare, persist. I am going somewhere, the crabs in the bucket will try to pull you back down. They will say you are crazy. They will say you are greedy, persist. They will say you are changing. Good. You should be changing. If you are the same person you were 10 years ago, you have wasted 10 years of life, persist. The winner accepts that being misunderstood is the price of admission to greatness. He does not seek approval, he seeks results, persist. He does not ask for permission, he asks for forgiveness, and rarely even that, persist. Napoleon Hill tells us that the fear of criticism robs man of his initiative, destroys his power of imagination, limits his individuality, persist, takes away his self-reliance, and does him damage in 100 other ways. It is a spiritual disease, and the cure is a decision, persist. A decision that your vision is more important than their opinion, persist. A decision that your destiny is too heavy to be carried by the weak spine of a people pleaser, persist. You must build a wall of indifference around your mission. When they laugh, you work. When they doubt, you work. When they gossip, you work, persist. And one day the laughter will turn to silence, and the silence will turn to awe, and the awe will turn to applause. But by then, persist. You won't care about the applause either, because you will know that the victory was never for them. It was for you, persist. It was for the expansion of your own soul. This path requires a hardened heart, not hardened to love, but hardened to the arrows of small-minded men, persist. You must love your family and your friends, but you cannot let their limited worldview dictate your horizon. Sometimes, persist. The most loving thing you can do is to succeed in spite of them, to show them a new way is possible. But the road is long, persist, and the initial burst of motivation will fade. The adrenaline of the start will wear off. The novelty will vanish, and you will be left with the cold, persist, hard reality of the grind. This is where the amateurs go home. This is where the tourists pack their bags, persist. And this is where the winner truly begins to earn his crown. We enter the domain of persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith, persist, the ability to keep moving when every fiber of your being screams, stop. You have heard the story of R.U. Darby, persist, the man who stopped 3 feet from gold. It is a tragedy not because he lost the gold, but because he lost the lesson. Until later, persist. He quit because the drilling got hard. He quit because the vein disappeared. He allowed the temporary defeat to become a permanent failure. Persist. How many times have you stopped 3 feet from your gold? How many times have you walked away right before the breakthrough? Persist. The universe has a habit of testing your resolve just before it hands you the prize. It throws a final, persist, massive obstacle in your path to see if you are really serious. It is the persistence test. Pass it and the vault's open. Fail it, persist, and you return to the start. Winners deserve it all because they treat no as a vitamin. They treat rejection as fuel. Persist. Every time life knocks them down, they bounce back higher. They have what Hill called elasticity. They do not break, they bend and snap back, persist. Think of the sheer madness of Colonel Sanders. He was 65 years old, broke, living on a social security check, persist. He had a recipe for chicken and a belief. He drove across the country, sleeping in his car, knocking on restaurant doors. Will you buy my recipe? No, persist. Will you buy my recipe? No. Get out, we don't want it. You're crazy, old man, go home. He heard no 1,009 times. Persist. 1,009 rejections. Can you imagine the humiliation, the fatigue? The voice in his head saying, you are a fool. But he didn't listen. Persist. He knocked on door number 1010, and he got a yes. And that yes built an empire that spans the globe. Persist. He deserved every penny of his fortune. He didn't deserve it because of the chicken. Persist. He deserved it because of the 1,009 no's. He endured. He paid the price in the currency of persistence. Persist. Most people quit after 3 no's. Some quit after 1. The winner never quits. He simply adjusts his approach and keeps striking. Persist. You must understand that there is a gestation period for greatness. You plant the bamboo seed, and for 5 years you see nothing. You water it. Persist. You fertilize it and the ground remains bare. The neighbors laugh. You are watering dirt, they say. Nothing is happening. But under the surface, persist. A massive root system is spreading, anchoring itself deep into the earth. And then in the 5th year, the bamboo shoots up 90 feet in 6 weeks. Persist. Did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No, it grew 90 feet in 5 years and 6 weeks. If the farmer had stopped watering in year 4, persist, the bamboo would have died in the ground. You are the farmer. Your dream is the bamboo. You may have been working for years and seen no result. Persist. Your bank account may still be empty. Your recognition may still be 0. Do not stop watering. Do not stop believing. The root system is being built. Persist. The foundation is being laid. The explosion is coming. But you must stay at the post. You cannot abandon the field. Persist. Persistence is the direct result of habit. It is not a trait you are born with. It is a muscle you build. You build it by finishing what you start. Persist. You build it by keeping small promises. You build it by refusing to let your mood dictate your actions. There is a subtle enemy to persistence. Persist, a seductress called procrastination. She tells you, persist, you can do it tomorrow. Wait until you feel better. Wait until the economy improves. She is a liar. Persist. Tomorrow is the cemetery where dreams are buried. Persist. The winner lives in the ferocious now. He understands that the only time he has power is in the present moment. Persist. He kills procrastination by taking immediate, imperfect action. Persist. He knows that a mediocre plan executed violently today is better than a perfect plan executed next week. Speed is a weapon. Money loves speed. Persist. Success loves speed. When you have an idea, to act on it. Do not let it cool down. Do not let the doubt creep in. Strike while the iron is white hot. Persist. This aggressive speed signals to the universe that you are ready. It separates you from the talkers. Persist. The world is full of people who talk about what they are going to do. The winner is too busy doing it to talk about it. And as you persist, as you speed up, as you fight through the criticism and the doubt, you will encounter the final and most mysterious test of all. Persist. The transmutation of energy, specifically the sexual transmutation that Hill spoke of so delicately yet so powerfully. Persist. This is the uncomfortable truth that makes the weak blush, but makes the strong listen. Persist. The drive that creates life is the same drive that creates empires. It is the most potent form of energy in the human experience. Persist. The drifter dissipates this energy in frivolous pursuit, in momentary pleasure, in chasing the physical sensation. He leaks his power. Persist. He leaves his drive on the bedroom floor. The winner harnesses it. He takes that raw, burning desire for physical contact and redirects it into his purpose. He transmutes the biological urge into a creative urge. Persist. He uses that high-octane fuel to power his ambition, his salesmanship, his art, his leadership. Persist. This is why so many men of great power are men of high sexual nature. They have not suppressed the drive. They have steered it. Persist. They have turned a wild stallion into a war horse. When you learn to channel this energy, you develop a magnetism that is undeniable. Persist. You walk into a room and people feel your presence. Your voice carries weight. Your eyes hold a fire that compels others to follow. Persist. This is the charisma that seems magical, but is merely focused biological energy. It is the life force itself. Persist. Directed not toward reproduction of the species, but toward the reproduction of success. It is uncomfortable to discuss. Persist. It requires a discipline of the highest order. But look at the history books. The Titans were men of fire. They were not tepid. They were not lukewarm. Persist. They burned with a passion that they poured into their definite major purpose. If you want to deserve it all, persist. You cannot afford to waste your most powerful resource. You must become an alchemist of your own energy. All of these laws, the mastermind, persist. Specialized knowledge, autosuggestion, persistence, transmutation, they are the combination to the lock. You cannot use just one. Persist. You cannot pick and choose. You must integrate them into a symphony of action. You must become a living embodiment of the philosophy, and yet persist. There is one final piece, one final shift that turns the pursuit of wealth from a desperate chase into a magnetic attraction. Persist. A shift that most people miss because they are too busy looking at what they lack. It is the shift from getting to giving. Persist. The shift from predatory competition to creative domination. For a long time, persist. The world has operated on the vibration of competition, the idea that for me to win, you must lose, that the pie is fixed. Persist. And I must fight you for my slice. This is the way of the animal. This is the way of the scarcity mindset. But the true winner, persist. The one who builds a legacy that lasts, operates on the plane of creation. He knows that he does not need to compete. Persist, because he is creating something unique. He is not fighting for a slice of the pie. He is baking a new pie. Persist. And he knows that the secret to getting everything you want is to help enough other people get what they want. Persist. This is the golden rule applied to business. It is not just a moral nicety. It is a commercial strategy. When you focus on rendering service, persist, on adding value, on improving the lives of others, money becomes a byproduct. It flows to you as a natural reaction. Persist. You stop chasing the butterflies and start building a garden. And the butterflies come to you. The drifter asks, "What can I get?" The winner asks, persist, "What can I give?" And paradoxically, the one who asks what he can give ends up getting the most. This is the law of compensation in its highest form. Persist. You cannot outgive the universe. Every time you put out value, it returns to you multiplied. Sometimes not from the source you gave it to. Persist. But it will return. So, as we move toward the conclusion of this truth, you must ask yourself, what are you giving? Are you holding back? Persist. Are you trying to cheat the system? Are you doing the minimum amount of work for the maximum amount of pay? If so, you are doomed to mediocrity. Persist. You must go the extra mile. You must do more than you are paid for until you are paid for more than you do. This is the habit of the masters. Persist. They over-deliver. They surprise and delight. They render service with a positive mental attitude that is infectious. Persist. They make themselves indispensable. And in doing so, they place the universe in their debt. And the universe always pays its debts. Persist. The journey is not easy. I never promised you it would be. I promised you it would be worth it. The pain of discipline is ounces. Persist. The pain of regret is tons. Which weight will you carry? The uncomfortable truth is that you are choosing your pain every single day. Persist. You are choosing the pain of the gym or the pain of illness, the pain of study or the pain of ignorance, the pain of courage or the pain of cowardice. Persist. Winners choose the pain that leads to glory. They embrace the struggle. They fall in love with the process. Persist. They do not wait for the destination to be happy. They find joy in the climb itself. Persist. Because they know that who they are becoming is far more important than what they are acquiring. And when they finally reach the summit, persist. When they finally hold the gold, they realize that the gold is just metal. The real treasure is the person they had to become to get it. The iron will. Persist. The unshakable faith, the disciplined mind, the open heart. That is the true wealth. That is the true victory. So I ask you now one last time, persist. Are you ready to accept your inheritance? Are you ready to stop making excuses and start making history? The laws are waiting. Persist. The principles are proven. The path is clear, but no one can walk it for you. You must take the first step. You must burn the ships. Persist. You must clear the mind. You must lock the focus. You are not a victim. You are a creator. You are not a drifter. You are a commander. Persist. You are not destined for the shadows. You are destined for the light. Rise up. Stand straight. Look the world in the eye and tell it, I am here. Persist. I am ready, and I will not be denied, because winners deserve it all. And deep down in the quiet sanctuary of your soul, persist. You know, you have always known that you are one of them. The time for sleeping is over. The time for winning is now. And yet, persist. Even as you stand on the precipice of this decision, even as you feel the fire of a new resolve warming your blood, there is a shadow that lingers. Persist, a shadow that has hunted humanity since the dawn of consciousness. To truly cement your victory, persist. To ensure that this moment is not just a fleeting spark, but the ignition of an eternal flame, persist. You must confront the ghosts that haunt the corridors of your mind. Napoleon Hill identified them, named them, and gave us the weapons to slay them. Persist, but they are cunning. They hide in the logic of your excuses. Persist, they disguise themselves as prudence or caution. The most terrifying of these is the fear of poverty. Persist. It is the most destructive because it paralyzes the faculty of reason. It destroys the imagination. It kills off self-reliance. Persist. It undermines enthusiasm, discourages initiative, leads to uncertainty of purpose, encourages procrastination, wipes out enthusiasm. Persist, and makes self-control an impossibility. It takes the nobility out of the human spirit. You must look this fear in the face. Persist. Why are you afraid of being poor? Is it the lack of food? No, in the modern world, starvation is rare for the able-bodied. Is it the lack of shelter? Persist, unlikely. It is the fear of the loss of status, the fear of what they will say, the fear of being seen as less than. It is a vanity. Persist. The winner conquers the fear of poverty by realizing a fundamental truth. You can lose your money, you can lose your house, you can lose your titles. Persist. But you cannot lose your ability to create wealth once you have mastered the principles. Persist. If you took all the money in the world and distributed it equally among all people, within a few years, persist, the majority of it would be back in the pockets of the original few. Why? Because wealth is a frequency, not just a currency. Persist. Henry Ford was stripped of everything more than once, but he did not fear poverty because he knew he was the generator. Persist. When you know you are the generator, you do not fear the dark. You simply turn the lights back on. Persist. The drifter fears poverty because he believes wealth is external, something to be hunted and hoarded. The winner knows wealth is internal. Persist. Something to be cultivated and expressed. Do not let the fear of poverty make you a coward. Do not let it force you into a job you hate. Persist. Working for a man you do not respect for wages that barely keep you alive. That is a form of slavery more insidious than chains. Persist, for the chains are forged by your own mind. Tear up the compromise. Persist. Refuse to accept a life that is less than your potential simply because it is safe. Safety is an illusion. A ship in the harbor is safe. Persist. But that is not what ships are built for. Alongside this fear walks the fear of criticism, which we have touched upon, but let us look at its cousin. Persist. The fear of ill health. How many of you use your body as an alibi? Tired. My back hurts. I get headaches. I am not strong enough. The mind is a powerful instrument. Persist. If you look for symptoms to justify your inaction, you will manufacture them. Persist. The subconscious can create real physical illness to protect the ego from the risk of failure. This is the hypochondria of the drifter. Persist. He hides behind his ailments because as long as he is sick, he has a valid excuse for not winning. The world pities him instead of judging him. Persist. But the winner rejects this weakness. He commands his body to serve his purpose. He speaks health into his cells. Persist. He does not have time to be sick because he is too busy being useful. When your purpose is strong enough, persist. It overrides the minor complaints of the flesh. Energy flows where attention goes. If you focus on your fatigue, you will be exhausted. Persist. If you focus on your mission, you will find reserves of energy you didn't know you possessed. You must strip away these alibis. Persist. An alibi is a lie you tell yourself so often it begins to sound like the truth. Hill cataloged the most common alibis. Persist. If I had money, if I had a better education, if I had more time, if I were younger, if I were older, if I lived in a different city, if the economy were better. Burn the list. Persist. There is only one, if that matters, if I decide. The moment you discard your alibis, you are left naked before the mirror. It is a terrifying moment. Persist. But it is the moment of liberation. You realize that there is no one coming to save you, and paradoxically, that realization saves you. Persist. You become your own rescue party. Now, let us ascend to the highest peak of this philosophy. We have spoken of the mind, the action, the discipline, persist, and the fear. But there is a realm beyond the intellect. There is a door that opens only when the other principles are mastered. Persist, Hill called it the sixth sense. It is the apex of the philosophy. Persist. It is the point where the finite mind of man contacts the infinite intelligence of the universe. This is not mysticism. It is the mechanics of genius. Persist. Every great leader, artist, and entrepreneur reports the same phenomenon. The best ideas do not come from them, they come through them. Persist. They come as hunches, as sudden flashes of inspiration, as a still small voice that whispers the answer when the logical mind is silent. Persist. The sixth sense is the receiving set of the brain, but it cannot receive a clear signal if the static of fear, doubt, persist, and indecision is jamming the frequency. This is why you must clean your mental house. When you have banished the ghosts of fear, persist. When you have clarified your purpose, when you have burned the bridges, your mind becomes a calm lake. And in that calm lake, persist. The stars of the universe are reflected. You will begin to know things before they happen. Persist. You will sense the right move in business before the data confirms it. You will feel the character of a person the moment they walk into the room. Persist. This is the unfair advantage of the winner. He is operating with a guidance system that sees around corners. But you must learn to trust it. Persist. The logical mind will often argue with the sixth sense. Logic is based on past experience. Intuition is based on future possibility. Logic said, persist. Man cannot fly. Intuition told the Wright brothers, build the machine. Logic said, a horseless carriage is a toy. Intuition told Ford, persist. Build the factory. To develop this sense, you must practice the art of silence. In a noisy world, silence is a luxury, but for the winner, persist. It is a necessity. You must carve out time to be alone with your thoughts, to sit in the silence, as Hill called it. In that silence, persist. You are not thinking, you are listening. You are tuning in. Persist. And when the idea strikes, that lightning bolt of inspiration, you must act on it immediately. That is the universe handing you a gift. Persist. If you ignore it, if you say, I'll do it later, the signal will fade and the idea will seek another host. Have you ever had a brilliant idea? Persist. Done nothing about it, and 6 months later seen someone else make $1 million with the exact same idea? That is not a coincidence. Persist. That is the idea moving to a mind that was ready to receive it and act upon it. Be the mind that acts. Be the vessel that is open. Persist. This brings us to the concept of the other self. In his conversations with the most successful men, persist. Hill discovered that they all had an experience where they were pushed to the brink of despair. And in that moment of total surrender, persist, they discovered a hidden power within them. He called this the other self. The other self is the part of you that knows no fear. Persist. It is the part of you that is connected to the divine. It is the part of you that cannot fail. Persist. Most people live their entire lives identified with their little self, the ego, the worrier, the doubter. Persist. They never meet their other self because they never push themselves hard enough to summon it. Persist. It is only in the crucible of extreme difficulty that the shell of the little self cracks and the other self emerges to take the helm. Persist. This is why you should not fear adversity. Adversity is the pressure required to crack the shell. When you feel like you can't go on, persist. When you are exhausted, broke, and ridiculed, rejoice. You are at the doorway. One more step, one more push, and the other self will take over. Persist. And once you have met your other self, you will never be the same. Persist. You will walk with a stride of certainty that intimidates the weak and inspires the strong. Persist. You will understand the law of cosmic habit force, or what Hill called the hypnotic rhythm. Nature uses this law to make your habits permanent. Persist. If you drift, nature fixes that drift into a permanent destiny of failure. If you take charge, persist. Nature fixes that discipline into a permanent destiny of success. You are spinning a web every day. Eventually, persist. That web will either trap you or it will catch your fortune. The winner ensures the web is spun by design, not by default. And finally, persist. We must speak of the ultimate purpose of this wealth you seek. If your goal is only to accumulate cold metal discs or numbers on a screen, persist. You will find a hollowness at the top of the mountain. The human soul is not satisfied by accumulation. It is satisfied by contribution. Persist. The uncomfortable truth is that you do not own anything. You are a steward. You are a custodian of the energy that flows through you. Persist. The money is not yours. It is the world's energy entrusted to you for a brief moment in time. How you use it determines if you keep it. Persist. The greatest winners, the ones whose names endure for centuries, were the ones who turned their wealth into legacy. Carnegie built libraries. Persist. Rockefeller built universities. Ford built the middle class. They understood that the cycle must be completed. You receive, and then you give. Persist. If you break the cycle, if you try to hoard the flow, the water becomes stagnant and poisonous. Gratitude is the valve that keeps the flow open. Persist. Not a polite thank you, but a ferocious, deep-seated gratitude for the struggle, for the victory, for the breath in your lungs. When you are grateful, persist. You tell the infinite intelligence, I am ready for more. When you complain, you say, I cannot handle what I have. So, persist. Envision your future not just as a life of luxury, but as a life of impact. See yourself as a force for good. See your wealth feeding the hungry. Persist. Teaching the ignorant, healing the sick, empowering the dreamers. This vision will give you a power that greed never could. Greed burns out. Persist. Purpose burns forever. You are building a cathedral, not a shack. Lay the bricks with care. The world is tired of mediocrity. Persist. It is starving for leadership. It is crying out for men and women who have mastered themselves, who have conquered the ghosts of fear. Persist. Who have tapped into the sixth sense and who have the courage to command their destiny. The baton has been passed to you. The wisdom of the ages. Persist. The secrets of the titans, the laws of the universe, they are all laid out before you. The map is in your hands. The vehicle is your mind. Persist. The fuel is your desire. What are you waiting for? The permission of a critic, the guarantee of a fool. The right time of a procrastinator. Persist. They do not exist. There is only the raw material of reality waiting for the sculptor's hand. Pick up the chisel. Pick up the hammer. Strike the stone. Persist. Chip away everything that does not look like the vision you hold in your heart. It will be hard work. There will be sweat. There will be blood. Persist. There will be lonely nights. But one day you will step back. You will wipe the dust from your brow, and you will look at what you have carved. Persist. You will see a life of freedom, a life of power, a life of meaning, and you will look in the mirror and recognize the face staring back at you. Persist. Not the face of the drifter, not the face of the victim, but the face of the master. The uncomfortable truth is that you have always had the power. Persist. You just had to decide to use it. The decision is made. The drift is broken. The ghost is slain. Go now. The world is yours. Win. Persist. But let us be clear about one thing. The moment you step out of this sanctuary, the moment the echo of these words fades from your ears, persist. The world will try to pull you back. The gravity of the average is heavy. The hypnotic rhythm of mediocrity is relentless. Persist. It will try to lull you back to sleep. It will whisper that you are just having a manic episode, that you are being unrealistic. Persist. That you should just be grateful for what you have and stop reaching for the stars. This is the morning after. Test. Persist. It is easy to feel like a titan when you are listening to the philosophy. It is easy to feel rich when you are visualizing. Persist. But can you hold the frequency when the bill collector calls? Can you hold the vision when the car breaks down? Persist. Can you maintain the state of the winner when the physical world screams looser? This is where the separation happens. Persist. This is where the boys are separated from the men and the wishers from the commanders. Persist. You must understand that your brain is a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Persist. Napoleon Hill discovered this long before neuroscience caught up. Every thought you release is a signal sent out into the ether. It travels. Persist. It seeks its match. It resonates with other brains and other circumstances that are vibrating on the same frequency. If your broadcast is weak, persist. Intermittent or filled with the static of worry, you will attract a chaotic, static-filled reality. Persist. You cannot tune into the frequency of wealth while your dial is stuck on the frequency of poverty. Persist. You cannot listen to the station of success while you are broadcasting the signal of despair. The universe is not punishing you. Persist. It is simply matching you. It is a mirror reflecting your dominant mental state back to you as physical circumstance. So, persist. The work, the real work, is the constant, agonizing, beautiful discipline of tuning the dial. When a negative thought enters your mind, persist. You do not fight it, you replace it. You switch the station. You do not argue with the darkness. You turn on the light. Persist. You must become the guardian of your own frequency. This requires a mental diet more strict than any physical diet. Persist. You must refuse to consume the garbage of the world. The news that sells fear, turn it off. The gossip that sells envy, walk away. Persist. The music that celebrates degradation, change the track. You are programming your biocomputer every second of every day. If you put garbage in, persist. Do not be surprised when you get garbage out in the form of a bank account that bounces. Persist. Winners deserve it all because they protect their minds like a fortress. Persist. They treat their attention as the most expensive currency on earth, because it is. What you pay attention to grows. If you pay attention to your lack, persist, your lack grows. If you pay attention to your opportunity grows. This is the law of cosmic habit force. Persist. Hill described this force as the cosmic glue that holds the universe together. Persist. It is the rhythm that keeps the stars in their orbits and the seasons in their cycle. It makes every pattern permanent. If you drift through life, persist. Cosmic habit force takes that drift and makes it permanent. Persist. Locking you into a cage of failure that becomes harder and harder to escape with each passing year. But if you take control, persist. If you establish habits of discipline, focus, and action, cosmic habit force takes those habits and locks them in, making success inevitable, automatic, persist, and rhythmic. You want to reach the point where it is harder to fail than to succeed. You want to reach the point where discipline is not a struggle, persist, but a flow. That is the hypnotic rhythm of the winner. Persist. It is the momentum of the freight train that smashes through the brick wall of resistance without even slowing down. To harness this force, persist, you must engage in the practice of the invisible counsel. Hill famously held imaginary meetings in his mind with the greats, Emerson, Paine, Edison. Persist. Darwin, Lincoln, Ford, Carnegie, Napoleon, and others. He would sit in the silence of the night, close his eyes, persist, and visualize these men sitting around a council table with him. He would ask them for advice. He would absorb their character, persist. He would ask Lincoln for his patience, Carnegie for his grasp of the law of organized effort, Edison for his faith, persist. This sounds like fantasy to the drifter, but to the winner, it is a psychological technology. By vividly imagining these characters, persist. Hill was tapping into the collective consciousness, accessing the vibrations of wisdom that these men left behind in the ether, persist. He was tuning his receiver to their frequency. And over time, he found that he began to think like them. He began to act like them, persist. He began to make decisions that were far beyond his own education or experience. You have access to the same counsel. Who is at your table? Persist. Who are you consulting in the sanctuary of your imagination? If you fill your mind with the giants of history, persist, you will find that their stature begins to rub off on you. You will stop thinking like a peasant and start thinking like a king, persist. But let us go deeper into the uncomfortable truth of time. The drifter kills time. The winner invests it. The drifter says, persist. I have time. The winner knows he is running out of time every second. There is an urgency to the winner's life that makes the average person nervous. Persist. Why are you in such a rush? They ask. Relax. Take it easy. They do not understand. They do not see the sand running through the hourglass. Persist. The winner knows that this life is a brief flicker of light between two eternities of darkness. Persist. He knows that he has a duty to burn as brightly as possible before the flame goes out. He is not rushing because he is stressed. Persist. He is rushing because he is inspired. He is chasing a vision that is running away from him, and he must run faster to catch it. Persist. Every hour you spend in idleness is an hour you have stolen from your future self. Persist. Every hour you spend mastering your craft is a deposit into the vault of your destiny. Persist. Winners deserve it all because they respect the raw material of life. They do not squander it. Persist. They squeeze every drop of juice from the orange of existence, and in this squeezing, persist. They discover the secret of going the extra mile, not just in work, but in spirit. They become people of excellence. Excellence is not an act. Persist. It is a habit. It is a way of walking, a way of talking, a way of doing the dishes, a way of signing a contract. Persist. The winner puts his stamp of excellence on everything he touches. He refuses to put his name on mediocrity. When you operate at this level, persist. You become magnetic. People want to be around you. They want to do business with you. They want to help you. Not because you are manipulating them, persist, but because you represent the highest potential of the human spirit. You remind them of what they could be. You become a living, persist, breathing sermon on the power of the human will. This is why the winner takes it all, because he has become a vessel that can hold it all. Persist. He has expanded his consciousness to the point where abundance is natural. Poverty is unnatural to him. It is a foreign frequency. Persist. If he were dropped in the slums with nothing but the clothes on his back, he would be rich again in 5 years. Persist, because he carries the wealth inside him. You must stop chasing the reflection and start changing the image. The money, the cars, persist. The houses, they are just the reflection in the mirror. You are the image. If you want the reflection to smile, you must smile. Persist. You cannot manipulate the mirror. You cannot force the world to give you what you do not embody. So, the final question is this: who are you? Persist. Not your name, not your job title, not your past. Who are you in the dark? Who are you when the pressure is on? Who are you when no one is watching? Persist. Are you the victim, waiting for a handout? Or are you the victor, sharpening your sword? The uncomfortable truth is that you have been playing small. Persist. You have been hiding your light under a bushel. You have been afraid of your own power. You have been afraid that if you truly unleashed yourself, persist, you would be too much for people to handle. You are right. You will be too much for some people. You will blind them with your brilliance. Persist. You will intimidate them with your intensity, and that is okay. You are not here to make everyone comfortable. You are here to make yourself great. Persist. You are here to prove that the laws of the universe work. Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime decoding the map. He handed it to us. Persist. But a map is useless if you do not walk the path. The path is steep. The path is rocky. The path is lonely. Persist. But the view from the top is the only view worth seeing. Do not die with your music still inside you. Do not die with your potential unwrapped. Persist. Do not let the graveyard be the richest place on earth because of your buried dreams. Empty yourself. Pour it all out. Leave nothing on the table. Persist. When you take your final breath, let it be a breath of satisfaction, knowing that you used every ounce of talent, every ounce of courage. Persist. Every ounce of spirit that the Creator gave you. That is the definition of a winner. A winner is someone who dies empty. Persist. Because they gave everything to the game of life. So straighten your spine, lift your chin, dry your eyes. The time for self-pity is over. Persist. The time for excuses is dead. You are entering the era of the commander. Command your mind, command your day, command your destiny. The law is waiting. Persist. The harvest is ready. The crown is polished. Step forward and take it. It belongs to you. It has always belonged to you. Persist. You just had to wake up and claim it. Now go, and never look back. But before you take that first step into your new destiny, persist. There is one final covenant you must make. Not with me, not with the world, but with the face in the glass. It is the covenant of consistency. Persist. Because the greatest tragedy is not the man who never tries. It is the man who starts, catches a glimpse of the mountaintop. Persist. And then lets the weeds of the valley pull him back down. Persist. You must understand that the devil, that negative force of entropy and drift, does not sleep. Persist. He waits for your moment of triumph to whisper his deadliest lie. He will whisper, "You have done enough for today." He will whisper, "Persist. You can relax now." He will whisper, "One skip day won't matter." This is the trap of the plateau. Persist. Many climb out of the pit of poverty only to settle on the plateau of comfort. They get the nice car, the decent house, the polite applause. Persist, and they stop. They lose the eye of the tiger. They become fat in spirit, and in doing so, they violate the law of growth. In this universe, persist. If you are not growing, you are dying. There is no standing still. The moment you stop climbing, you begin to slide. To deserve it all, persist. You must commit to the path of never-ending ascension. You must realize that the goal is not the money. The goal is the capacity. Persist. The money is just the fuel for the engine, but you are building an engine that must run forever. Persist. You must adopt the mindset of the student master. You are a master of your craft, yet you remain a student of the game. Persist. You are the king of your domain, yet you serve the humblest subject. This duality is the key to longevity. Look at the empires that crumbled. Persist. Rome fell not because of external enemies, but because of internal rot. It fell because it became arrogant, lazy, and distracted by its own luxury. Persist. Do not let your personal empire fall for the same reason. Guard your humility as fiercely as you guard your gold. Persist. Napoleon Hill taught us that there is a self-confidence formula, but there is also a self-correction formula. You must have the brutality to audit yourself every single night. Persist. Before you close your eyes, replay the tapes of your day. Ask yourself, where did I drift today? Where did I let fear make a decision? Persist. Where was I unkind? Where did I waste time? Do not judge yourself with guilt, judge yourself with truth. Guilt is a wasted emotion. Persist. Correction is a profitable one. If you find a leak in the boat, plug it. If you find a weakness in the armor, reinforce it. Persist. This daily accounting ensures that you never drift far off course. A plane that corrects its course every minute lands at the destination. Persist. A plane that waits until the end of the flight to correct its course lands in the ocean. And as you rise, persist. As the atmosphere gets thinner and the stakes get higher, persist. Remember that your greatest protection is the golden rule. This is not Sunday school morality. It is cosmic physics. Persist. If you climb by stepping on others, the foundation of your success is brittle. Persist. The hands you crushed on the way up will be the hands that pull you down when you stumble. But if you climb by lifting others, persist. If you build your castle on the rock of service and mutual benefit, you create a safety net of loyalty that no market crash can destroy. Persist. True wealth, the kind that lets you sleep deep and dream sweet, is clean wealth. It is wealth that has no tears attached to it. Persist. It is wealth that was created, not extracted. Winners deserve it all because they create more value than they capture. Persist. They leave every room brighter than they found it. They leave every person taller than they found them. So, write this down. Persist. Carve it into your awareness. Your definite chief aim must be more than a number. It must be a mission. A number can be stolen. Persist. A mission can only be surrendered. And you, my friend, are not the surrendering kind. Persist. You are now part of a brotherhood and sisterhood that spans the centuries. You stand shoulder to shoulder with Edison, with Ford, with Carnegie. Persist. With Curie, with Wright. They are watching you. They are cheering for you. They have passed the torch to you. Do not drop it. Persist. Do not let the flame go out. The world is noisy, distracted, and fearful. It needs your light. It needs your example. Persist. It needs to see someone who refuses to compromise, who refuses to settle, who refuses to be anything less than magnificent. Be that evidence. Persist. Be the proof that the philosophy works. When the storms come, and they will come, anchor yourself in the knowledge that you have obeyed the law. Persist. You have paid the price. You have kept the faith. And because of that, you are untouchable. The storm may rage around you, but inside, persist. In the citadel of your soul, there is peace. And that ultimately is the greatest prize of all. Not the cars, not the applause, not the power. Persist. But the peace of mind that comes from knowing you did not waste your life. The peace of knowing you squeezed the sponge dry. Persist. The peace of knowing you looked the devil in the eye and made him blink. This is your time. This is your turn. The stage is set. Persist. The audience is waiting. The script is yours to write. Now pick up the pen and begin.